I'm going to show you how to do a Lynn Osborne inspired cropped composition like I've got here. I've used trees as my theme, arranged in colours as you can see. So I'm going to shut that down for a minute and I'm going to show you how I made that. I've got a new custom document which I opened up, 209mm or 210 if you want to round it up. 210mm or 209 square will be fit nicely onto an A4 sheet of paper. So 209 by 209mm, not centimetres, or it'd be far too big to fit. So I'm going to open that. There's my new document. I've got all my images here ready, selected from the internet, so I can just drag all of those into Photoshop. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. My untitled new document, I'm just going to click and drag that tab over, because if I hover it over here, it's going to be easier to drag my trees into that rather than going from tab to tab. So what I'm going to do is start at the top and just work down. I obviously want to crop these into squares so that they're all the same square shape and they'll fit nicely onto a grid. So I'm going to use my crop tool in the main toolbar there, and I'm going to crop these into squares. I can crop any shape I like, but to hold a square and make sure it is a square, if I push the shift button, you can see maybe just about that selection is now going to a square every time I hold shift, so that's shift again. So I can do any size square I like, but as long as I'm holding shift, I know it's a square. I can move that around and just make sure I'm getting, an image that I'm happy with. Happy with that, resize it. If I want to resize it again, I want to hold the shift and make sure it's a square selection. Happy with that, so I'm going to OK that. I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to do this really quickly so you're not having to listen to me for ages. But there's a bit of branching there, let's keep that, yes. Next one, whiz, whiz, whiz. So each time holding down the shift. Oh, I just lost my new document. I can set. Again, a bit more red. Let's bring that there. Yes. And let's go for a bit of yellow in this one. I want mostly yellow. I'm going to keep that tree trunk in there because it's quite a strong shape. But yeah, that's quite well. Again, nice strong trunk, but I want this brighter corner up here. You're going to think about this carefully and crop your images in a pleasing aesthetic way, obviously. This one obviously got a lot of blue and a lot of green. I want to focus on the green, so I'm going to crop into there. I'll try and have some grass. A bit too blue. Let's go for the green there. See how it works. If not, I can change it if it doesn't work with the others. Let's just lose a bit of that sky right there. It's a bit greener. I've obviously had a think about what images I've collected, in this case off the internet, but I've chosen and thought about my selection, so I've obviously picked ones with colours that will work well. Next choice is now obviously making crop selection, and then my next choice is going to be obviously how I put them together, which we'll come to in a minute. Nice splash of blue. More. So there's that shine there, a bit more green. Christmas tree, got a little bit of Christmas tree in there. Yep. And lastly, a bit of icy blue. Yeah, nice bit of blue sky. Okay, so I've got all these 16 are now cropped. I think I've shut down my new document, so I'll open up a new one. So new, so yes, got square dimensions there, lovely. So that was my new document. Again, I'll just drag it over there. And now I'm going to use my move tool just to drag those into my new document. And actually I'm going to work back down the list so I know I get them all. So I'll move that over just a bit. Okay, don't want to miss one out, so I'm just going to work methodically down here and get them all in here so that I can see what I've got. Actually, let's just do. I'm just going to make sure I keep them in colour orders as well. So let's keep the reds together. I'll have some yellows, then I'll have some blues. Do it in that order. I can jiggle them around when I can see them all together, obviously, see if they work well. Another blue, blue. Obviously, this I'm just doing 16, but you can do a grid of more in a square. You can do a rectangle. I'm just doing 16 because I quite like the idea of having 4 colours and 4 of each. Just remembered that was actually green, wasn't it? That's blue there, so yeah, that's getting there. 3 more, so I've got, oh no, 2 more because I used the last one already. A Christmas tree, there we go. Right, just move that one there. Okay, so I've got all my 16 taken out of there now. I'll just minimise that to lose that. Right, I obviously need to resize these and get them all lined up nice and equally. So what I'm going to do is do Command comma just to bring up a grid. If you don't know it already, it's Command comma will show that and hide that grid. I'm going to zoom in, just Control plus just to zoom in, and I need to resize these and line them up. Obviously, I'm going to go to View, Snap to, and make sure Grid is ticked because I want each of my images to snap to the grid lines that I've brought up, so that I can save a lot of time trying to line everything up. Let's just go for fairly near the top of the document here so I don't have to overlap anything, but I'm going to just start with this tree, and I don't know if you can see from the movement that it's jerking a little bit. What it's doing is it is snapping the edges of the image to the edges of the grid lines. You'll feel it when you're using this, and you'll know if the snap to is on or not because it just feels different. I could hold Shift down to constrain my size, the shape to keep it as a square, but I don't have to with the grid because it will snap to, so you can see it's sort of jerking and it's matching up to the edges of the grid. Sometimes I'm just going to nudge that over 1 pixel just so that, because it doesn't always go pixel accurate, but that is snapped to the edges of the grid. I'm just doing this really quickly because as I've got 16 images to show you, you don't want to sit here for ages watching me do this, but I'm just going to rush through. I can nudge and tweak them if I'm not happy with them later, but I'm just going to line them up. There we go. As you can see, I'm just using the corner of the boulder grid lines. I'm matching them up 9 by 9 squares so that I know that they're all constrained to these square grid lines. And dun, dun, dun. Obviously, if I wasn't using Snap to and had the grid, I'd be spending ages and ages zooming in, zooming out, trying to tweak and line these up with each other, and it would just take ages. So getting there. Oh. Okay. some images do snap a little bit easier than others. Oh, let's get that on there. And so you can just nudge them with the nudge them a bit if you need to. I can already see a few that I might reorder, and the more I'm putting them together, the more I'm seeing that these two, I'm not too sure, they're a bit similar, a bit samey. I might move them around a bit, whereas these two are stronger, so I might move them. You can sort of start seeing which ones are clashing or which ones just don't look right together. So really, yeah, what order you put them in is really your final decision, really, as to how the composition will look in the end. Let's just line up my reds. And there we go, getting there. And last two, let's see how it's looking now at least. I think these two look a bit orangey together as well, so I might move one of those around. There we go, so that's the last one put in its place. I'm just going to go Command minus and zoom out so I can see what they look like. Command comma, let's lose that grid. Yeah, this is quite an orangey red, this is quite an orangey yellow. I'm going to move those around, so I'll bring the grid back up again. I'm going to swap that one, just drag that over there and move this one up. And again, just like resizing, the move, you'll find when you move them, they jerk about a bit because they're snapping to the grid. So again, no spending ages lining them all up. As I said, I think these two, strong white branch against a strong dark branch. No, actually, yes, what I'll do is I'll move that one down there. I like one of those tile games where you can slide them about until you've got them in the right order. Okay, actually that one just needs to line up that way. And that one. Okay, I think I'm happy with that order. Let's just check. Yes. Okay, I'm going to quickly just zoom back out so I can see the full document. Now obviously they're just placed regularly on the page now, so what I need to do is hold my shift and select all of the images, so I've got all my layers selected. So that means obviously I can move them all together in one go. I'm going to move them up to here, so I've got a border of 2 squares that way and a border of 2 squares that way. So I need to drag this corner down, obviously, and again it's snapping. As you can see, it's doing that jerky snap. And if I put it to there, I've got 2 squares on these 2 sides as well, so nice and even border. So I'll just click and deselect that and then take the grid away. You can see that they've all got even spacing, they're all lined up, they're all cropped to the same shape and size, and that's my finished composition.